So Pablo, it's a pleasure to welcome you.
I think it's okay. Thank you, Mayor Burkett. Thank you, Mayor Cava. Last time I saw my daughter was 4 years ago, 4 days before the collapse. It was Father's Day. I didn't know it was going to be the last time I will ever see my daughter. 4 days later, after Father's Day, Nicole and her husband, Louis, were killed in the collapse. I never saw them again. That night, 98 innocent people died in the middle of the night. Today is not just another day, it's another day of pain. The only difference is that today it marks an anniversary. For us, for the families, the survivors, and the friends, every day is June 24th. Every day we carry the weight of what happened that tragic night. 98 people were taken far too soon. There was no warning. There was no reason. And now, 4 years later, 4 long years have passed, and we still don't know why the building collapsed and who is going to be accountable for the deaths of 98 people. 4 years, it's a long time. We need closure. We need clarity. We need accountability. We deserve to know how this happened and why it was allowed to happen. NIST, the federal agency in charge, has spent over $30 million. 4 years. This is unacceptable. The only thing we get is hypotheses. We need concrete answers, and we need them now. We need the truth. And I said it before, 4 years, it's a long time. If NIST is not able to bring us those answers, then it's time for them to step aside and let a qualified, forensic, independent engineer take over the investigation without political ties, without secrets, without excuses. I will respectfully ask the court system if it's possible to reopen the case, to finish the job, to extend the statute of limitations, because justice has not been served yet. Not yet. And while we're still grieving and waiting for answers, a new building is rising behind me, as like nothing happened. We still don't know why the Champlain Towers collapsed, and yet another building is rising, it's popping up. This site should still be a crime scene. It should not be a business opportunity. It doesn't matter how luxury this building may be, it's going to be always on top of a graveyard tainted with blood. So today, I ask all of you, the government, the media, the investigators, and the public, to keep pushing for answers, to keep demanding justice. Because 98 loved ones, the first to know why they died. And regarding the memorial, I kindly ask the developer and FPL, do not interfere with the memorial design because of an FPL bolt. The memorial is not and must never become an access point to that bolt. We're asking one thing, honor and respect. The memorial needs to be respected. And now, I will ask everybody 12 seconds of silence. This is the time it took the building to fall down. 12 seconds. It killed 98 people. For Luis, for Nicole, and for every soul that never made out that night, we will fight for them. We will not be stopping fighting until we get the answers we deserve. We will not stop until justice is served and the truth is revealed. Thank you.
Thank you, Pablo. Next speaker is Mara Shuela.
It's hard to talk after Pablo. I'm a Champlain Tower survivor. And before I start my speech, I want to let you know that city of Surfside and Miami-Dade knew what was going on. The city was on site a couple of weeks before the collapse. The building officials were in the building, and we never got a straight answer from them. So I just want to point out that I agree with Pablo with most of the things he said, and it's really hard to be in this position right now. It's been 4 days since kissing my kids goodnight took on a whole new meaning. 4 years since my sense of reality changed forever. For me, there were 2 collapses. The first, the physical one, happened exactly 4 years ago. The second came in the months that followed, less visible but equally devastating. It was then I realized that survivors didn't matter. We were met with silence from the very people who were supposed to protect us and support us. A judge made a ruling that favored headlines over humanity, never once asking to meet with us or hear our stories. In the end, we were paid pennies on the dollar and left to bear the weight of a tragedy we didn't cause. We were left not just grieving, but struggling, as if surviving was a shame to carry. I met with government officials. Some of them are here today, who hand us phone numbers like promises, told us help was coming, but those doors were never opened. Calls were left unanswered. We were pros for photos, pawns for political gain. They showed up for the spotlight, but disappeared in the darkness. Then came the attorneys. They made millions from our suffering while calling their work pro bono. But you can't be both. The moment the checks were clear, they disappeared. Calls were unanswered. And the city of Surfside, millions spent or wasted on investigations that led nowhere, plus the NIST, $30 million. Not once did they offer real help, real housing, or real answers. But through it all, there were glimmers of compassion. I want to thank Surfside's residents and neighboring communities who truly saw our pain, the Shul of Bar Harbor and the churches around too, who offer support not for the cameras, right from the heart, and I mean it. Every night, when I kiss my children goodnight, I remember the families who no longer have the chance. I see the names here too, breaks my heart. I remember the faces, the laughter, the life loads, and I think of the survivors, myself included, who carry invisible scars and fight every day to keep the world moving forward.
Thank you. Next speaker is Kevin Spiegel. Kevin?
Good morning. Mr. Mayor, Mrs. Mayor, I want to point out Ray Jadala, Chief, Miami-Dade Fire, and Brandon Webb, Chief Brandon, of the USAR team. These are real heroes. I'm Kevin Spiegel. I lived at 877 Collins Avenue, apartment 603, with my wife, Judith Ann Spiegel, Yahudit Bas Mordechai, of blessed memory, who was killed 4 years ago today, alongside with your 97 loved ones in the Champlain Tower collapse. As you heard, it was Father's Day weekend. I spent it with my family in the apartment, playing with my grandchild, Scarlett. Judy made our family lunch and dinner that the next day I was able to fly to California to work in a hospital in Watsonville, California. Every night we talked. Judy gave me an update what Scarlett did for the day. Wednesday night was the last time we talked, as the place we lived totally collapsed and our family lost everything. There was a time to rebuild our lives, but in reality, there were very dark times. For me, Rachel, Michael, and Joshua, and especially Scarlett, who spent her days with Judy as the schools were closed from COVID. It is now a time to rebuild our lives. Rabbi Lipsker, Shalom of blessed memory, and Rabbi Zalman Lipsker provided our family with nonstop support. We also went to Israel several times. We went there once to thank Colonel Golan Vach and the entire IDF IRU International Rescue Unit Plakud Orif teams and thank them. We went and trained with them, accompanied by the Miami-Dade Fire USAR team, who are here today, who led the rescue here at Champlain Towers. Neil and Raquel also came, representing the families. In fact, the families actually came together, and we supported each other. Rabbi Lipsker, Golan encouraged me to start dating and told me, quote, "Men are not meant to be alone." I met a wonderful woman who I fell in love with support and emotion of good for each other. There are miracles in this world, and one of them is Chava. This past Sunday, we were married. And today is also her birthday. So as one door closes, God opens a new one. I am now back to work and helping others as I became a chaplain with the United States Chaplaincy Corps. My team from Florida Medical Center are here today, and I thank them for that. Colonel Moshe Seda from the IDF was here and actually was trapped here and was not able to come down because of the war and the closure of the airport. And just so you know, members of the Miami-Dade Fire Department were back in Israel training, and some of the Miami-Dade fire people are also trapped in Israel and not able to leave. So God bless them. In closing, helping others actually helped me and my family in our healing process. I am truly blessed to be able to help patients at the Florida Medical Center because helping others clearly is my own healing. God bless you, and God bless your lost families. Thank you.
Kevin, thank you for reminding me. Brandon, good to see you. Thank you for coming. Brandon was amazing during the collapse. I also like to note, Kevin, that you mentioned Rabbi Lipsker, who I didn't mention at the open, and I want to. Rabbi Lipsker recently left us and left us with a gigantic hole. This was a giant of a man. He was a personal friend and a mentor. I just want to say I'm sure he's looking down and smiling on us now. And he played a huge and integral part in everything that went on, not only just in the rescue, but subsequent to the rescue, supporting the families, supporting their needs. Rabbi Lipsker was an amazing, unbelievable, integral, and indispensable part of our community, and he will be greatly missed. The next speaker we have is Devin Gonzalez. Devin.
Good morning. Before I start off, I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Devin Gonzalez. My family and I lived in apartment 904, and I'm one of the survivors of the collapse side of the condo. 4 years ago today, I woke up on piles of rubble in complete darkness. I couldn't feel my legs and I couldn't move. As I tried to make sense of it all, I realized I wasn't dreaming and my apartment floor had caved in and I had fallen. In shock, all I could think was, where is my mom and where's my dad? And that's when I saw my broken leg. And my first thought was, how am I supposed to compete in my volleyball tournament this weekend? As much as I want to focus on the positive and share the amazing resiliency of my family, I feel I also needed to be true about the pain and the heartbreak we all still feel. There's this assumption from people and outsiders that aren't a part of the Surfside community have that because we received compensation after the collapse, our lives must be fine now, that we should be grateful, that we've somehow moved on. But what so many fail to see is that money came at a cost of everything I ever knew and we ever knew. It's what I can only describe as blood money, a constant reminder of the 98 lives lost, 98 individuals with their own families, dreams, and futures. My dad, Edgar Gonzalez, was one of them. I no longer have my dad, his pep talks, his love, his sarcasm. I didn't get to have him at events big or small. He wasn't there for dances, high school activities, prom, and my graduation. He didn't get to move me into college this fall, and he won't be at my wedding or meet my future children. I lost the safety of hearing him say, everything will be okay. The family we once had was ripped away, and though I survived, I lost so much. People say I'm lucky or blessed, But what is luck when your entire sense of safety is gone? How do I feel blessed when my father is gone, my home is gone, my neighbors, the people who watched me grow up in our building are gone? I almost lost my mom too. I've witnessed my mom recover from her own traumatic injuries while also mourning the loss of her person and love of her life. I watched my abuela and my abuelo mourn their son. My sister and I carry a burden that our father never wanted us to bear because we've watched our family break in ways that it will never be the same. And despite what the outside world may think, because they see a post on social media of us smiling or me laughing with my friends, money has not made everything okay. People don't see what happens when we're alone, when the weight crashes down and the silence settles in. This pain in our hearts will never go away. To this day, my mom and I still struggle to talk about what happened that night. Lying in the rubble, waiting to be rescued, is something that haunts us in ways words can't fully express. I carry physical scars that remind me of that night, but it's the invisible scars that cut the deepest. There's a Devin before the collapse, and there's a version of Devin after. Because I didn't just get injured. I didn't just lose my father. I didn't just lose my home. I lost a part of me, my innocence, my ability to be young and carefree. No 16-year-old should have a near-death experience, lose almost everything she ever loved, while also working through PTSD and survivor's guilt. Survivor's guilt that makes me question every comfort and whether I deserve to be here. None of us who've lost a loved one are okay, and we will always have a void. I stand here today because I am my father's daughter. I am resilient, and I hold tight to what my father taught me, that giving up is not an option. So I will boldly say it has been 4 years, and we still don't have answers. We're still in the dark, waiting for someone to help. We deserve to be heard, and our loved ones deserve to be remembered. I carry my dad's legacy with me every day, but not just his. I carry the legacy and souls of all 98 who were taken too soon, and we all deserve better. Thank you to all fire rescue and everyone who was there at night that rescued not only my mom, me, and Jonah, but everybody else who was on the other side of the building. They are survivors too. And thank you to my family for supporting me and helping me get through this, and to my mom for being my foundation, and to my sister for always having my back. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Tali Nabrif. I hope I said that last name. I remember you well. How are you doing? Nice to see you.
Good morning, and thank you all for being here 4 years later today. I've gone back and forth for days on what I'd like to share, and frankly, nothing feels good enough. What do you share when enough time has passed that you don't have any pre-Surfside memories with your brother to share that haven't been shared already? And yet, so little time has passed that it still feels so fresh. I decided to share a poem that I read 4 years ago, and it really stuck with me, and I hope it will stick with you too. It's called An Ugly Pair of Shoes. I'm wearing a pair of shoes, and they're ugly shoes, uncomfortable shoes, and I hate my shoes. Each day I wear them, and each day I wish I had another pair. Some days my shoes hurt so bad that I don't think I can take another step, yet I continue to wear them. I get funny looks wearing these shoes. They're looks of sympathy. I can tell in others' eyes that they're glad that they're my shoes and not theirs. They never talk about my shoes. To learn how awful my shoes are might make them uncomfortable. To truly understand these shoes, you must walk in them. But once you put them on, you can never take them off. I now realize that I'm not the only one who wears these shoes. There are many pairs around the world. Some women are like me and ache daily as they try to walk in them. Some have learned how to walk in them so that they don't hurt quite as much. Some have worn the shoes for so long that days will go by before they even think of how much they hurt. But no one deserves to wear these shoes. But because of these shoes, we are stronger. These shoes have given me the strength to face anything. They have made me who I am. And I will forever walk in the shoes of Tali Naibrif, sister of Ilan Naibrif, who tragically perished in the Surfside collapse. Thank you.
Thank you, Tali. Raquel Oliveira.
I have to say my shoes are hurting me today. Okay, so my name is Raquel Oliveira. I lived on Unit 512 at Champlain Tower South with my husband, Alfredo Leone, and my son, Lorenzo de Oliveira Leone. For those who don't know me, I traveled 4 years and about 18 hours ago by myself without knowing that I'd never return home to see the love of my life and my son again. The perspective of time is very interesting. I had to think twice to confirm this morning while I was writing this speech the number of my apartment. Although 4 years seem too little for some emotions, it seems a lot to others. Every year, as I reflect for this event of the anniversary, I notice the changes in my perception, in my behavior, how I react to these memories and to people. Maybe that's what we call learning. And if we have teachers and parents here, and I see a beautiful crowd of Lorenzo School, a lot of parents, we know that the definition of learning implies a changing in behavior too. Otherwise, it's just storing information. If you have the information about what cigarettes do to your body, but you still smoke, you didn't learn. You just have the information. Otherwise, if you stop smoking once you understand your life is in risk, then this is learning. Wendell Berry said, we don't inherit the world from our ancestors. We borrow it from our kids. And without Lorenzo, for a long time, it has become very hard to develop my own world. I always say that Alfredo was my present. He was my energy to have pleasure, adventures every day. He challenged me to be my best self. And Lorenzo was my future. Everything I was, my important values, my purpose, everything was relating to them and to the world that I wanted to live for Lorenzo. My behavior changed when I held him for the first time. I finally learned what it was to be a mom. Every day of our lives together. We lived 5 years together, and today marks the 4th anniversary of his death. So I cannot stop thinking that from next year on, I will have lived more time with his death than with his beautiful life smile, with his curls that smelled coconut shampoo, him singing Michael Jackson on the way to school. And as I wake up and I meditate every day, I bring those memories to my heart, and it feels like yesterday that I was dating Alfredo, planning our pregnancy, seeing him becoming a loving and fun father. And of course, depending on the day, these memories bring me different emotions: happiness, peace, anger, melancholy. In Portuguese, we have a word that is saudade. Saudade is when you love something good that you've had in the past, but you don't have it anymore. Many poets define saudade as the love that is abundant, but cannot be given to that person or that situation anymore. We only feel saudade when we really love very much, but cannot give it to the person we love because they are not close. I'm still learning every day how to survive and deal with this, how to deal with my saudade. And I took a 1-year sabbatical with the mission of understand how different cultures deal with grief, life, and death. Now I learned that the grief process starts not with the end of someone's life itself, but with someone who knows the story from the moment that life ended on. It starts with someone who knows that story and was transformed by it. And there is a day when it begins. The before, while in our case, we were waiting for news, that was an anticipation of what it could be. It was a rehearsal for grieving. But my real grief started when the police called me after more than 15 days of the collapse, saying that their corpses were finally found and identified by DNA. Grief is rebuilding affection at the moment of the confirmation of death. And it has a structure that is not only passive, not only of accepting, tolerating, admitting it, is a research process. We start reflecting about what was lost, about what makes this relationship unique, what makes those people irreplaceable, about what was essential in that relationship. And when we get to that essential, it's less hard to carry on. It's not easy, but it becomes less hard. Maybe the most complicated griefs are those when we still want to carry on the whole world on our back. We don't want to let go of the belongings of the person we lost. We want to do the same rituals every day, no matter what. We insist in holding on to things no longer exist, maybe with the hope that one day we will repeat the feeling we had with that loved one. But it's impossible, because that moment was unique, and stayed in that past cannot be replicated anymore. Now we have saudade. I think the learnings from my pilgrimage at the Camino de Santiago last year, that was not a religious experience for me, but really an experience of experimenting, observing, spending time with my thoughts, the limits of my body, and how I dealt with it. It showed me that it was much harder when I was carrying what I thought I could need for the journey without really needing it. When I learned to let go of what was not essential, I could go further and in less pain. And when you lose everything you have, material and the people, as we did with the collapse, we learn to let go. Maybe to talk about death in a lighter way is to learn how to live in a lighter way. And that doesn't mean living a shallow life, but to put our feet in our own story, to walk with what life is offering to us at that moment. And maybe that's a great opportunity to learn that there are not really many things that can be controlled by us, except for our behavior. And that's when we need a lot of presence and emotional intelligence. And when we want to control everything, we will only get frustrated. Better is to learn to adapt while living the present with what we have, those essentials, see the flowers, hear the bird, talk to a pilgrim on the way. There was a time when I was still inert. I didn't realize for a long time that I'd never come back home. And maybe that was the real end. That was the real loss. Actually, I was dead for a while, but still having to deal with my own life and the life of those people around me that insisted and insist in checking on me. I was broken, but I'm complete. And just like the beautiful Japanese technique applied when a precious porcelain is broken, I got golden glue and I put myself together. And my golden glue was all the love and support that I got all my life, and not only the last 4 years. I learned right after the collapse, because I didn't seem like I was desperate, people remarked how strong and tough and adjusted I was. The stronger and happier I seemed, the better I was received by the world around me. I was actually making it easier for people to live around me. Those friends who were suffering, my family that was dealing with their loss too. Grief is a little yucky and scary. I wanted to have my grief to serve me other than fight me, and I needed to work it out. I'm not strong because I am in pain. I'm strong because of all the love that I get from people who know me and who don't even know me. We go to the gym to get strong. We read books to get smarter. And we gotta go to our darker places to see the light too. Maybe the worst is to ignore and pretend it doesn't exist. On the Camino, the wound on my feet were there permanently, but that was okay because I could heal there. The blister got dry, the skin peeled out, a new layer came up, and we can still live a meaningful life with this scar that we got from this tragedy. I've always felt I had to adapt to it. And actually, adapting has always been one of my greatest skills at work and in life, if you ask me. But I realize in this case, I don't need to adapt. Actually, I want to expand. And that's what I invite we all to do. I cannot imagine the pain of my fellow survivors who were there at the building that night and have the memories of that terror. Cannot imagine the grief of the first responders dealing with the magnitude despite of all the training they've ever had. I cannot imagine what it is to live in the community and deal with it, even if it's not your family, being affected. It affected every single one of you in a different way. But we can try to expand this experience and bring a new meaning. How will this learning change our behavior? I'm still experimenting it, trying, and the more I try, the more I live. Being part of the memorial committee is important to my grief. Being connected to the communities is very important to my grief, as well as enjoying my life, traveling, laughing, mentoring, writing, connecting to people. This is also my way of expanding my life. How big can our lives be? I know this conversation is not comfortable, so thank you for listening and maybe trying to process. And I hope we can all get the motivation to learn every day and change something. I'm here today because I am grateful for the life I have and the love that left me saudade. Take care of yourselves and tell the obvious things to the people you love, even when you think it's not needed. Thank you.
Our last speaker is Patty Vasquez Bello.
Thank you all for being here today and for making this possible year after year. When I emailed Frank that I wanted to speak this year at the memorial, my brain froze. I had no idea how I was going to stand up here and talk about the most incredible human, my mom, Margarita Maggie Vasquez Bello, out loud in front of people. And the truth is, I could write a whole novel about the kind of woman she was. Kind, resilient, fun, honest, adventurous, inclusive, and adaptable. Someone who had this deep, real passion for enjoying every single moment that God gave her. But today, I don't want to tell the story of her past. She would never want me to. I want to tell her that she's still creating, even now. Mom, your 4 kids and our spouses, who you lovingly called your children, are closer than ever. Losing both of our parents
way earlier than we ever imagined, bonded us in ways that were hard to explain. But you always said it. Family is everything. And we've really taken that to heart. We still do a big family vacation every summer, shaving cream fights and all, because that was your tradition. That was your fun. The beach, cooking together, loud dinner, lots of wine, and so much laughter. And yes, we are still 19 people in one house because separate places just won't work for us yet. We'd miss each other too much. We still host Thanksgiving, your favorite. And last year, there were over 80 people at Margie's house. You were everywhere. Your 11 grandkids are so much like you and Dad. They are funny, smart, and kind. 5 are already in college and heading there, and some are heading there soon, serving their communities and going to Mass every Sunday, because you taught us that faith isn't optional. It's part of who we are. 2 of your granddaughters are star athletes, making varsity freshman year. 2 of your grandsons are the sweetest souls, kind, hilarious, and thriving in all that they do. And my 2 little ones, who didn't get enough time with you, they still take your photo down from their room and have dinner with you at the table. You're still so present in their lives, and they never got to feel you, the full you. That's how powerful your love is. And Mom, the Mom Awesome Foundation is real. It exists because of you. We built a turf field for children at a school in the Dominican Republic since the building collapsed. We have sent aid to disaster zones. We have helped families at Joe DiMaggio stay close to their kids through treatment. And we've given Christmas gifts to kids right here in Miami who otherwise might not have any. That's the kind of mom you were. 4 years ago, I would have said this kind of joy was impossible. I wasn't sure where we'd go from here. But now I see it every single day. I see how you lived. I see how you loved. And I realize that you're the reason that we're stronger. You're the reason we keep going. We all just want to make you proud. We were the luckiest. Actually, we are the luckiest because we had you. You are Mom Awesome. And we'll spend the rest of our lives finding the joy you gave us every single day. We love you.
Thank you, Patty. Chief Ray Jadala is going to read the 98 names now.
All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, friends, family, loved ones. Good morning to my Miami-Dade Fire Rescue family, to the Surfside Police Department, and to all the first responders that answered the calling 4 years ago today. We have the distinct honor, myself, Firefighter Maggie Castro, and Lieutenant Jeanette Harrington, have the distinct honor to read out the names. And as we read out the names, I ask that you reflect on a positive moment that positively impacted you.
Stacy Dawn Fang. Antonio Lozano. Manuel V. Lafont Jr. Gladys Lozano. Leon Olikowicz. Marcus Joseph Guara. Luis Andres Bermudez. Anna Isabel Ortiz Kleiman. Cristina Beatriz Elvira. Frank Kleiman.
Michael David Altman, Hilda Noriega, Lucia Carolina Guara, Emma Guara, Anaeli Rodriguez Guara, Andreas Yanosopoulos, Bonnie Helene Epstein, Magali Elena Delgado, Stella Catarossi, Graciela Maria Catarossi,
Claudio Bonafoy, Maria S. Ovis Bonafoy, Gonzalo Torre, David Epstein, Ingrid Ainsworth, Zvi Ainsworth, Linda March, Elena Blasser, Andrea Catarossi, Nancy Kress Levin.
Jay Kleiman. Francis Fernandez. Graciela Ponce de León Catarrosi. Gino Cesar Catarrosi. Aishani Patel. Bhavna Patel. Vishai Patel. Simon Siegel. Richard Augustine. Elena Chavez.
Elaine Leah Sabino, Gary Herman Cohen, Alexia Maria Pentagil Lopez Moreda, Ana Sofia Pentagil Lopez Moreda, Luis Pentagil Lopez Moreda III, Luis Alberto Pentagil, Juan Alberto Mora, Juan Alberto Mora Jr., Ana Maria Mora, Leida Vanessa Luna Villalba, Mariana Restrepo Asen,
Brad Cohen, Nicole Langesfeld, Ruslan Menashroff, Gloria C. Machado, Maria Teresa Rovirosa, Elon Neobrief, Deborah Berezadevin, Harold Rosenberg, Sofia Lopez Moreira,
Benny Wise. Lorenzo de Oliveira Leoni. Alfredo Leoni. Michelle Anna Pasos. Teresa Velasquez. Angela Velasquez. Edgar Gonzalez. Beatriz Rodriguez Guerra. Oresme Guerra. Sofia Galfrascoli Nunes.
Fabián Núñez, Andrés Galfrascoli, Miguel Ángel Pasos, Richard Rovirosa, María Torre, Gabriela Camus, Lisa Rosenberg, Miguel Leonardo Kaufman, Maria Miriam Notkin, Mihai Radulosco,
Arnold Notkin, Maria Popa, Judith Spiegel, Julio Cesar Velasquez, Nicole Dawn Doran, Catalina Gomez Ramirez, Louis Sadonovic, Cassie Belado Stratton, Margarita Vasquez Bello, Rosa Says,
Andrés Levine, Moisés Rodan, Mercedes Fuentes Urguelles, Ramón M. Urguelles.
Luis Fernando Barth Tobar, Valeria Barth, Anastasia Gromova, and Estella Hadaya. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time I ask that you reflect with a personal prayer and a moment of silence. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and may God watch over you all.
Rabbi Lipsker, would you please come up and give us the benediction?
"4 years ago today, in the early hours of that fateful morning, our world changed forever. We were jolted awake not just by sirens and phones ringing, but by heartbreak we still cannot truly fathom. We ran, some still in pajamas, to the site that would soon become hallowed ground, the Holy Mound. What we saw when we arrived at the Champlain Towers was something no human being should ever have to witness. Destruction, silence, confusion, and the awful, unbearable truth that life has just changed forever. And for me, this was not just a distant tragedy, it was personal. Among the 98 souls that were lost were the parents of childhood friends. We lost dear friends, we lost neighbors, we lost pillars of our community. These weren't strangers, they were ours. We stood there together day after day, night after night. We waited, we wept, we held on to hope. Each moment we prayed for a miracle. Each hour we yearned for good news. And we watched strangers that became family. And though the buildings crumbled, our resolve did not. To our heroic first responders and our local and state elected officials, mayors, governors, senators, and there are no words to thank you enough. To the community and to the volunteers, you were simply there day and night doing whatever was needed and beyond. I'm inspired to live in the 33154 community. You are a paradigm of kindness. We give thanks today to those who showed up when others could not bear to look. To the police, fire, and search and rescue teams from across the United States, to the brave souls from Israel and from Mexico who traveled across the world to stand with us. They became our lifeline, and they gave us all hope. You did not turn away. You worked through fire, through rain, through exhaustion. You dug with your bare hands. You carried our sorrow on your shoulders. You gave us the gift, the sacred privilege of burying our loved ones with dignity. We will never forget you, and we will never forget them. May your strength be replenished, and may your service be remembered forever. We gather today not because we necessarily want to, but because we must. We become because we remember their names, because we cannot forget their faces. Because 98 lives were cut short, and that kind of loss leaves a hole in the soul of a community. We come because grief still echoes through the halls of empty homes, because children still ask why and no answers seem to suffice. We come to say their names again, to hold each and every one of us close, to remind ourselves we are not alone in this pain, because our hearts still hurt, because grief does not obey calendars. I remember those early days standing at the site for hours on end, praying for a miracle, waiting for news, any news. We wept together and we held each other. We remember those moments because they remind us that love still lives, even in the tragedy. God of mercy, hold the souls of the 98 in your eternal embrace. Let them rest in light, in peace, and in love. And may their memories be a blessing, and may their lives inspire us to live differently, more deeply, more courageously. But remembering is not enough. If we truly honor them, let us act. Let's make sure buildings are safe before they become burial grounds. Let us hold our leaders accountable to protect the vulnerable, to listen when warnings are raised, to fund the systems that keep us safe. Let us not wait for tragedy to remind us of what matters most. Let us love harder. Let us reach out more. Let us live lives that reflect the values they would have wanted us to uphold: kindness, integrity, faith, responsibility, and community. Because the legacy of the 98 is not only in how they died, but in how we choose to live. I know my father at this moment, may his soul rest in peace, my father and teacher. This was a tremendous tragedy for him personally, took a lot out of him. He gave everything he had to this community, and I know there's no doubt about it, as much as he wanted to be here today. Perhaps interestingly enough, he's together with the 98 souls right now and asking for a better world, a world full of peace, of tranquility, of brotherhood, sisterhood, and no more pain. And so now, as we close the sacred moment together, I offer the ancient priestly blessings. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Yo'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May the memory of the 98 souls be forever etched in our hearts. May we carry their names with reverence, and may we, the living, be worthier of their legacy. He who maketh peace on high, may he make peace upon us and upon all of humanity. And let us say amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming today and spending the time with us. This concludes the memorial. Thank you.